Alright, we're back for another painting tutorial. This is another one of the 5 videos that just got released on the channel. I'm doing the new Eldar Guardians, in this case Storm Guardians. I'm doing 5 of them, one of each of the main craft worlds. This one being Iyanden. So let's get right into it. I primed the miniature with Black Templar is the contrast paint, Chaos Black spray, and then zenithaled it with Wraithbone. I know it looks like Gray Seer on camera, but I promise you it's Wraithbone. So, first things first, we're going to start with, very appropriately, Iyanden Yellow. We're going to do this all over the armor, except for the knee pads and the helmet. Actually, come to think of it, we're going to paint our knee pads with non-contrast color, so we can just go right over the top of them. No big deal. We're going to not just paint over the helmet, though, because we are going to do the face mask of the helmet in white, and so we want to leave that the pristine white that it already is. So, just going to make sure that we've got all the armor nice and covered here. Again, avoiding the helmet where possible, and definitely avoiding the face mask where possible. This yellow is a nice color, but we don't want it on the face mask. So, once this is all dry, I will come back and we'll do the blue. Alright, we're back and our yellow is all nice and dry. Now we're going to move on to the blue, and for that we're going to start with Techless Blue. I was trying to keep these 5 Eldar videos into contrast paint, because that's what I use a lot, and it definitely speeds up the paint process. But for Iyanden, I just couldn't really find a blue that I liked in contrast for this, so I went with this. It is a bit more complicated and a bit slower. If you really wanted to just power through it, I would say Techless, not Techless, Techless is what we're using. Talisar Blue. That's the name I could not remember. Talisar Blue would probably be your best bet, but I personally just didn't like how that looked, so I didn't do that. So I'm just painting the helmet here, and then I'm going to paint the knee pads as well. And then we're going to glaze over this with Glaze, which unfortunately is a paint that is out of production. However, if you want to recreate it with the current range of paints, Aethermatic Blue Contrast and Talisar Blue Contrast mixed 3 to 1 will give you almost the exact same result. Since I have a bottle of Glaze, I will use that. But if you don't have it, or don't want to pay the astronomical price per pot for it, Aethermatic Blue to Talisar Blue 3 to 1 will get you very close. So I'm just going to finish up this second knee pad here, let this blue dry completely, and then we'll come back and do the glaze. Alright, we're back, and like I said, we're going to use Glaze, and just put this all over the blue. If you are going to use that Aethermatic Blue to Talisar Blue mix, you apply it the exact same way, just all over the blue, letting it sit on the surface, avoiding the face mask, because again we're going to do that in white. Sure to get it onto all of the surfaces of the blue here. Get a little darker back here. Alright, There we go. Get rid of that splotch. There we go. Alright, so we can go straight into the white here. We're just going to take our apothecary white, rather, contrast paint. And we'll just put a little bit of this into the face mask, just to give it a little shading. Being careful not to touch the blue. We don't want it to run together. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to let those two colors dry, and then we'll come back and start working on the weapons. Alright, we're back, and everything is nice and dry. Now we're going to move on to Black Templar. And this is going to be for the weapons, as well as the plume on his head, as well as the couple gemstones that have housings. So like this gemstone right here that has that little border around it. This is going to be black. And that's just because we want the housing to be black. The Iyanden miniatures I've looked at seem to have very little in the way of metallic colors. It's mostly just flat colors, so that's what I'm sticking with here. Our weapons are both going to be black. Just make sure to get all sides of it here. Make sure to spread your contrast paint out. So you get a nice finish. Right, then onto the sword. And when you're doing flat panels like this, you want to do, with contrast paint, you want to do long strokes so you don't get those nasty watermarks or tide marks or coffee stains, whatever you want to call it. A nice smooth application of contrast paint. There we go. Looks good. Just get the last little bits down around the hand here. Alright, then we'll get the plume on his helmet. Being careful not to touch the other colors around here. The blue would be easy enough to touch up. The yellow would be kind of a pain in the butt. So if you're feeling a slip coming on, try to hit the blue, not the yellow. Alright. That should do it there. Then I'm just going to get the little detail back here. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but just going to do it in black. And then this ribbon on his arm here. Just going to do that in black. Again, being very careful not to hit the yellow if possible. Alright. I'm just going to rinse my brush and keep it wet and then get rid of this little dot that I put on the yellow here by just scrubbing it with my brush. There we go. All gone. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry and then we will come back and do the finishing touches. Alright, we're back, and in the break I took a little bit of our Wraithbone primer and just touched the gemstones that were no longer a light color. So a bunch of them are on the yellow armor, that's fine, they can stay that way. But the ones that were on the black or the blue, I just touched them with a little bit of that. So that now we can move on to Blood Angel's Red, and this is going to be for the gemstones as well as the eyes. So just come in here. And then also make sure to hit all the ones that are on the yellow armor. And again, this is not supposed to be a prize-winning paint job. This is just going to be for people who want to get their army on the board and don't want to lose those 10 points. You can knock an army out in this using these colors or in any of the other, any of these beginner Eldar videos I've put out. You can probably knock an army out in less than a week, I would say. Doing this. And the beauty of a paint job like this is you can always come back to it. You can get it to this standard, get your points, and then when you're ready to come back and level it up a little bit, you can. Or if you want to get it to this standard and then that's good enough for you, you can stay like this forever. Always have options with things like that. So that's why I like this type of paint job. I have several armies that I've gotten to this level and left and never come back to. And I have a couple that I have gotten to this level and then weeks, months, even a year later come back and added more detail to. So now I'm just going to get the eyes, being careful to not touch the white around them. And then we only have one thing left to do. No, two things left to do. So the first is going to be just a little bit of plate mail metal from Army Painter. I said they don't usually have a lot of metal, but the weapon, the chainsword, I feel like needs its teeth to be metallic. So I'm going to do that real quick. Just come down here, touch the end of the teeth. There we go. And then the only other thing is just a little bit of Nuln Oil. Right there. And that's just going to go on a couple places, actually. On the guns, I always like putting Nuln Oil over my Black Templar. I think it flattens out the finish a little bit, and that's what I want. So on the guns here, then it's also going to go on his ab section here, just to give this miniature a little more contrast. And then there was one more place I wanted to put it, and now I don't remember. Oh, yes I do. On these little buckles down here, just to differentiate them from the yellow just a little bit. They'll still appear pretty yellow, but that's alright. Just slight differentiation is all we're looking for. So, as I finish that up, right about now, you should be seeing a picture, or pictures of him, all finished up, on a base. It is not just primer white, nothing fancy. So again, this is not meant to be a fancy paint job, but just something so that he doesn't have no base. Since to get those 10 points, you do need a base on there. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you everybody for watching. If you like this kind of thing, feel free to like and subscribe. If not, I am not offended. I'm going to keep making videos either way. But also, I should mention to go check out the other craft worlds that I've put up. All 5 are up right now. You can go and view them to your heart's content. But again, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.